Welcome back to the channel, fellow aviators. Today in episode 9, we are going to create our very first company. You become eligible to do this once you have around 26,000 in total credits. The question remains, which one should we choose? So starting your first company is simply a matter of credits. You can go as little as 1,000 credits for flight sim, up to around 20,000 for skydiving. The others are going to require more additional certifications and ratings to get going, but those are the first 3 that you can basically start with. One thing to keep in mind, however, is your very first aircraft is going to be highly subsidized, and we can see this when we come over to aerial advertising, which uses the same aircraft for both. So the very first aircraft is going to cost us a total of almost 26,000 in credits, while the second aircraft, or any additional aircraft we may purchase, is closer to 550. So this first company is going to be really important. It needs to be something that we really would like to do as we continue to earn credits. All right, so for me, which one would I like to choose? Well, the flight scene for me is a little bit boring, though I think as a new pilot, I think they're great to do as missions, right? It teaches a lot of different skills. Climbs, descents, accelerate, decelerate, holding altitude, slow turns around the point, cross-checking of our instruments. But for me, I don't particularly like the view in the 172, number one. Number two, in my other life as an actual pilot and as a helicopter pilot, I have flown for both the police, the news, and even off the back of a tuna boat, and that job required me to turn all day. Left-hand orbits. There's probably no one better on the planet that can make a left-hand orbit other than yours truly. So I really have no desire to continue doing that in my simulating world. So that really leaves cargo transport and skydive as the other 2 options of the 3 that we could potentially choose. I think this is something that there's a little bit of a glitch that we might want to use with skydive, depending on your particular play style. And that is, you will notice at various points in the flight, you are allowed to skip forward. This seems to be based, or the penalty for skipping forward seems to be based on the distance that you need to travel to your destination. So what you could do with skydive, if you wanted, would be to actually skip all the way forward until you get over the drop zone, complete the mission, then skip all the way back down to landing. So you could burn through these missions really quick and make a lot of cash. And so it's a great way to increase your reputation level and get money. But for me, that really doesn't seem that fun because I enjoy the actual flying. So really, through a process of elimination, I don't want to make turns and I don't want to just have a game where I'm skipping through everything. That leaves cargo transport. And so cargo transport, I think, would actually be the funnest. We'll get to go to a lot of different airports, hopefully. And as we unlock further specializations and ratings, particularly IFR and night, hopefully it will give us different options to fly in other than kind of this day VFR we've been doing now. Not a cloud in the sky in the middle of the day. So for that reason, I'm going to choose cargo transport. From here, I have no idea what's going to happen. All right, so it looks like we have a couple options of when to fly and where you do your flying at. So since it's winter here, I'll choose winter there. I don't know if this has an effect or how often we can change, but let's just see what happens. All right. Just reading the little note here. I think we want to do all that. And now we just need to choose a company name. All right, what did I choose? D squared for DD, my initials, for when your cargo absolutely has to get there at some point, flown by the world's okayest pilot. All right, let's see what happens next. Well, what happened is the game crashed 3 times to the desktop. Hopefully I've fixed whatever the issue is, and through the magic of modern editing, you will have not noticed. Anyways, looks like our new start screen is now in the hangar, and we have our 1 company, but no aircraft. So let's see if we can take care of that next. As you notice here, the only option is to buy the used aircraft. Brand new, and the marketplace obviously is still not functioning at the time of this recording. So let's go into here. And we have two options, a helicopter and a 172. Do not see an option to actually change your livery. So we'll just proceed on. And now we're presented with some insurance. And let's get wild and dangerous. We don't need any insurance. Oh, and now we need to choose where, in fact, we would like to start.
So now you have your own business and your own aircraft to fly. The choice is yours. You can continue to take missions as an employee, where the payouts are lower, but you don't have to worry about aircraft maintenance. Or you can head out as a freelancer, where the rewards are higher, but the buck stops with you. You can now switch between employee and freelancer missions via the panel in the top left corner.
So in the last screen, I mentioned I made a critical mistake, and the mistake was that I was not near my airplane when I bought it. And of course, I had no credits to actually reunite with the plane. So all I did off camera is run a real quick mission, and I've now reunited with my plane up in northern Germany, and now I can finally accept a freelancer mission as part of my company. And now I can transfer the aircraft to the airport, and that should be good.
The hangar is even more useful for you as a freelancer. You can change and manage your aircraft from here.
All right, so it looks like this is the spot where we can actually do some maintenance potentially. Looks like I'm looking around 16, almost 17,000 to fully upgrade everything. Another 20 grand if I want to repaint it, and 280 grand to actually sell it. That's kind of nice. All right, let's head on back and let's get right into the mission. All right, let's see if there's actually any damage on the aircraft. Oh, so we actually see here there is a little bit of damage. So it looks like it does actually carry on through. So I will just complete the rest of the walk around, and then we will get going. I was going to run through the startup procedure, but I think we've seen that enough. But if you would like to see the complete one, just let me know down in the comments. But otherwise, let's kind of get going. I don't want to make this actually too long.
Hi there. It's Meryl. Now that you're all set up, let me go over the important details with you. You're carrying loose cargo on this flight. Standard shipment for our partner based in Brilon, but super urgent. You must reach Brilon/Hawksauerland ASAP. Our sensitive cargo containers are built to handle turbulence, but maintain a constant flight speed. Let's keep our delivery on time and safe. All relevant information is in your flight packet, which is uploaded on your map as a reference. Fly safely, team.
Echo Delta Romeo Kilo Traffic Cessna Papa Hotel, Lima Quebec Foxtrot is taxiing to runway 06.
All right, let's start bringing some actual realism into the game. So the very first thing we want to do is choose a altitude that we're going to fly at. And the rule is above 3,000 feet to 18,000 feet. If you're heading basically eastbound, it'll be odd altitudes plus 500 feet. Technically, it's from 000 to 179, odd plus 500. And then from 180 to the 359 westbound, it'll be even plus 500. So it looks like we're headed northeast. So let's put in, well, 3,500 would be the minimum for above 3,000 feet. And let's go with 55. And let's use our flight level change. So we're going to want to choose a climb out speed of, let's go with 75 knots. And then once we get on the runway, we'll put in our runway heading, which should be approximately 060. So we just pre-put that in there right now. And now we are all set to go. We're going to need to put in our flaps, and we'll need to put our transponder to alt. And let's get going so we don't make this episode way too long.
Echo Delta Romeo Kilo Traffic Cessna Papa Hotel, Lima Quebec Foxtrot, taking off runway 06, departure to the north.
Alrighty, let's get going. All right. Flaps up. Go to the command bars. And autopilot engaged. Oh. Start heading towards our destination and continuing our climb up. All right, as we're getting close to the top of descent, just want to double check one more time. Everything looks good. Got a minute to go. So real interesting day at work last night. Completely foggy. Like it was about 200, mile and a half overcast on takeoff, departing LaGuardia. On the LaGuardia 7, if you guys want to throw that in your flight plan sometime. And then coming into Philly, it was right at minimum. It was about 200 feet, about a mile of visibility. When we fly the airlines, we actually really don't care about the altitude for the minimums. We just do visibility. But still getting right down the minimums and just starting to see the lights. So we continued on a little bit more. And right about 150 feet or so, had the airport in sight, knocked off the autopilot, and landed. So a lot of fun, but totally prepared to do a go-around. Okay, as we start our arrival, let's make sure we're all set. So, mixture, full rich. And we'll start throttling back just a little bit, keep our speed under control. We're just double checking here, looking at our vertical sync rate. Wants around 676, and we're getting around 650. Right in the box. So everything's looking perfect. So speaking of autopilot, feel free to use it all the way down. Use it as much as possible. In the airlines, we use it all the time. Sure, I can hand fly everything, but definitely on like nights like last night, where there's a real high probability we might have to go around, we definitely keep the autopilot on because it really reduces the workload for the other guy, right? The pilot that's not flying, he's going to be apt to getting the flaps up on schedule, the gear up on schedule, talking to air traffic control and manipulating my headings and altitudes. So it gets a little bit complex for him. So really it's just kind of rude to start hand flying it on a day like that. But typically I'll hand fly it all the way up to about 10,000 feet. And then on the way in, I knock it off, I don't know, around 1,000 feet, 1,500, whatever I'd like to do. But nights when you might really need it, definitely I keep that autopilot all the way, all as long as I can. All right, one more check. Everything's looking good over here. Right on path. Just under 3 miles before we start our turn. So now let's go ahead and start bringing a little bit more of our power and start getting our airspeed under control here. So as you come down, constantly monitor what you're doing, right? That's kind of what I'm doing here, making sure I know exactly where I am, what altitudes I need to be, when the turn starts. And that way if the electronics mess up or you make a mistake in inputting the stuff, that you're still prepared to go. So just constantly cross-checking all the time, especially as you're getting close and when you're on the arrival or the approach. All right, coming up on our turn, and then about 2.5 more miles until we get to our final approach fix. A little bit more power. And 3,000 looking for 2,300. All right, our first notch of flaps.
Echo Delta Kilo Oscar Traffic Cessna Papa Hotel. Lima, Quebec, Foxtrot, 4 miles, southwest 2700. Ford inbound to land runway 7.
Second notch of flaps, and let's hold around 70 knots. Just gotta bring in a little bit more power. Having a hard time picking up the runway here. Must be another dirt field. All right, continuing on down. Airspeed looks good.
500.
I guess it's just right on the other edge of those trees. Boy, this one's a tough one.
Echo Delta Kilo Oscar Traffic Cessna Papa Hotel. Lima, Quebec, Foxtrot is on final runway 7 to land.
All right, third notch of flaps. Definitely a short field. Oh boy.
Stall. Stall.
That was tight. All right, let's see if we can find where I'm actually supposed to stop at. I have no idea. That was a wild approach. I really enjoyed that. That was really tough. Skimming over the top of those trees there. And that is a very unique. For the most part, I generally just land with 2 notches of flaps, but on that one, I needed to slow down as much as possible since it's a very short runway. So hit right at stall speed, which is kind of what I was aiming for. Maybe just a tad slow, but that's kind of what I really wanted to do. All right, let's see how we did. I'm curious about the money. All right, everything looked like it went pretty good there. And now, how much money did we make? All right, 20,000, reputation, another 5,000, and no skipping for another 28. So 54,000 in total credits. All right, that's amazing. And highly unrealistic. But we'll go with it. All right. All right, now that that's completed, we've done our very first mission. We need to next start thinking about what we're going to do to advance up the career path. I think for us, what we should do next is probably the night currency, start working on the instrument rating, and multi-engine. And in the meantime, I'll probably run some missions off camera to generate some extra credits. Anyways, if you've made it this far through the video, I'd like to once again thank you for all your support as we progress down this career path. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye for now.